Happy morning, darlings. Isn't this the best period of our life for so many of us? First of all, let me welcome all the newbies, the new members, the new friends who have joined KMM for the first time. It will be a very, very different and very, very beautiful experience compared to anything else that you have attempted in your life before. Secondly, let me welcome all my darling volunteers who have been a part of KMM for the past years. It is only because of you that KMM is what it is today. Thirdly, let me welcome a few guests who are here to witness, who are here to help us to expand, who are here to collaborate, to cooperate, and ensure that we reach as many lives as possible. At the outset, let me share some numbers with you. This year, we will be having close to 400 volunteers. This year, volunteers come from 5 countries, from 18 states, and from 60 different cities of our country. The number of schools that are registered for the live session so far is 115. The number of divisions is 332. This is close to 20% more than we have ever done before in our lives. Till now, the maximum number of children we have impacted through live classroom sessions has been about 14,000. This year, as of now, we will cross 20,000. And in the next few weeks, maybe we'll cross 30,000 at least direct impacting lives. This year, KMM will be conducted in 4 different languages. We will be having it in 10 different states, and we will be having it in 25 different cities. Just before this drum music which was being played, I played a song called Krishna, sung by Colonial Cousins, which has Hariharan as one of the lead singers. Every year, before we start KMM, I listen to this song on a loop. Because this song says, the world is breaking up into pieces, and we need somebody to help us. So the lyricist goes on to write, come on as Jesus, come back as Rama, come back as Allah, come back as anyone. And then goes on to say, we need a teacher, and you are the only one. I heard this song in 2004 for the first time. And these lines kind of stuck with me. We need a teacher, and you are the only one. Come back as anyone. They say there are 3 kinds of people. One, who ignore problems. Second, who know about the problem, who watch the problem, but who wait for somebody to come and solve it for them. And third, people who respond to these cries that we need a teacher, and you are the only one. Come back as anyone. But something connects directly with your heart. And you think, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to contribute. This is where I would love to invest my time and energy. KMM for many of us is something like that. Thank you so much for joining in this journey of KMM. This year is going to be very different compared to every year. The way you are going to take the sessions inside the classroom will change. We are going to shift. And in a couple of minutes, I will tell you about 3 shifts which will happen. But before that, let's do something. I'm going to ask you just 2 questions. And give me the answer to those two questions. Question number one. Have you ever gotten a bad grade in school? Please raise your hands. Have you ever gotten a bad grade in school? If I ask, have you ever given a bad grade in school? I know Pramila will raise her hands. She's a principal of a school. She'll say, oh my God, how many I have given? But as another question is, have you ever gotten a bad grade in school? Please raise your hands. Now, looking at the number of hands which is going up, I'm tempted to ask the second question. Have you got many bad grades in school? Please raise your hands. मतलब एक ही बार हुआ था कि वही अपना हिस्ट्री है. How many of you have gotten many bad grades? Matthias, you too. My God, I thought you were a scholar. Now, the third and the most important question. Are you still doing reasonably well in life? Yes or no? What does it mean? It means bad grades or great grades in school is not proof that we are champions or failures of the future. Then what is the proof that we are champions? I'm going to tell you about 4 points today. And these 4 points are behind the spirit of Keep Moving Movements design this year. There are 4 things which will determine when will you be a champion and if you will ever be a champion. Point number 1, the efforts that we put in. You know, there is something called excuse and there is something called effort. Either we put in excuses or we put in efforts. What do we mean by effort? कुछ काम लिया है ना तो 100% पूरा करेंगे. If I have taken up a responsibility, it will be done. Where I don't hesitate in putting effort, where I'm not reluctant to put efforts. You will see this common to all the champions in the world. They put effort without any reservations. So first point, the efforts that we put in decides what kind of a champion we will be. Second, the opportunities that we catch. Every now and then, life will throw some opportunities in our path. Sometimes you might get a good teacher. Sometimes you might come across a great book. Sometimes you might meet a great person. Sometimes you might have a great friend. All of these are opportunities in our life. Being a part of KMM is an opportunity that we have in our life. So the second thing which makes us great is the opportunities that we catch, because the opportunities help us to maximize our potential. It's like you are a seed and you get the right ground, the right soil for you to germinate. Opportunity is that soil. So the first point was the efforts we put in. The second is the potential we maximize. Now the third is very interesting. It's called the adversity quotient we have. What do I mean by the adversity quotient? When things are not going right, how do we respond? When things are going great guns, it's like cruising on a highway. Even if it is effortless, you're still traveling quite a long distance. Every now and then, life will throw some adversities on our path also. Opportunities and adversities, both will come in our path. So the third thing which will determine our greatness is, when things are going wrong, how do I deal with it? It can be a setback in your life. It can be a mistake you've done. It can be somebody who's betrayed you or exploited your trust. It could be an accident that happens. It could be somebody's misbehavior. It can be injustice somewhere. It can be you delegated work to somebody and it was not done. How do I deal with situations which are opposite of what I want, which is opposite of what I want? We call it as the adversity quotient. आपने सुना है ना EQ, IQ, आज से ना एक AQ भी ऐड कर दो. मत पूछना ये क्यों. AQ, adversity quotient. And the fourth thing is the impact we make. A life of a champion is not restricted to what they experience, what they get, what they gather, what they achieve. A champion is a champion when it's very clear that they have an impact on the life of others. Begins with your family, expands to your friends, and then goes to strangers. 4 things will decide that you are a champion. The efforts we put in, the potentials we maximize by grabbing the opportunities which comes on our path, the adversity quotient, and the impact that we make. Fortunately, KMM is designed to teach children these 4. And fortunately, KMM will give you the opportunity in all these 4 aspects. You will be putting efforts to execute KMM. As you put in the efforts, it's a proof that you have grabbed the opportunity that you got, the opportunity of learning right now, interacting right now, being a part of a great team right now. Every now and then there will be things which will come as a hurdle. Somebody's help may not be good. A business opportunity might be there. Uninvited guests may be home. How we overcome those adversities will be revealed at that point of time. And obviously, the way we take the classes and impact the lives of children, strangers who in no way will give back something to you tomorrow. And yet you will go all out and make an impact on them because you believe it's an opportunity and a responsibility you have. Learning has changed in the last couple of years in a very dramatic way. And this year you find the design of KMM is keeping these 3 shifts in mind. Learning has changed from instructions to engagement and reflection. There was a time when the teacher would come inside the classroom and instruct the children. Today, it's a time when a teacher has to engage the children and help the children to reflect. As today's session go by, you will find that you are engaged and you will get enough opportunities to reflect. Learning has changed from sharing of knowledge to inviting collaboration. Earlier, the teacher has to know everything. Now, many great teachers enter the classroom and say, I know something about this topic. Together, let's discover more. Because in the Google world, I have keyed in some things to find something. Somebody else might key in a different word and they might find different insights to the same topic. So today, learning has shifted from knowledge to collaboration. And finally, learning has shifted from assessing memory to offering mentoring support. You know, earlier exams were all about how well have you memorized the subjects and how well can you answer. Today, learning is more about mentoring my children. It's all about molding my children and offering them support in the journey of their learning. With this, let's move into session number 1 of Keep Moving Movement. If all of you are ready, then I am ready. अपना 15 मिनट का वार्म अप हो गया, अभी चलो आगे बढ़ो. First things first. Something happened about 10 days ago, which filled my world with so much excitement. There was a research done on people who have contributed wealth to the world, people who have invested money on social work. And all over the world, there are big philanthropists. They did a research on last 100 years. Who have been those people who have given back a lot of money to the society? And in the history of the world, the biggest philanthropist ever has been Jamshedji Tata, the founder of Tata Group. You know the amount of money that he has given back? It's very interesting. Just see if you can count this number. He has given back close to, what is this number? Let me see who can count it and put it in the chat box. Now don't copy paste this, but lakhs, crores mein matlab kitna hai zara batao? Yes, highest ever. $102.4 billion. And 1 billion is not too much, but about 7,500 crores. And he has given back $102.4 billion. There, Nikhil Joshi says 7,65,000 crores. 7,65,000 crores given back to the society. Aren't we so proud of it? When you go inside the classroom, you will tell the children, we are a country which knows how to give. The school has given us an opportunity to be with you, and we wish to make the most of this opportunity. And you'll promise the children, thank you so much for giving us your time. We promise to you that this is going to be full of fun. There is tremendous power in the youth. Tremendous power in the youth. Swami Vivekananda's statement, which is very close to my heart, is, give me 100 youths and I'm going to change this country. In the internet world, this is much easier than what it must have been for Swami Vivekananda at that point of time. In KMM, the way we go inside the classroom and the way we speak, our idea would be to unearth a few of these 100 from this group of people and nurture a few of those 100 from your classroom. Imagine you going inside the classroom with this spirit. In my classroom today, I am going to show somebody that you can be one of that 100 who can power the destiny of the future. Now, inside the classroom, you tell the children, if you want India to be world class, then you need to have world class dreams. It is not possible for me to have a dream which is enough for my home and think that India should become world class. When a Mukesh Ambani dreams about the biggest refinery in the world, then India gets that place in the world. When a Jeff Bezos decides, I'm going to make the biggest e-commerce company in the whole world, America is proud of creating a company like that. A country by itself is a reflection of the dreams of its people. All of us want India to be the #1 country in the world. Let us begin by having some world-class dreams. And our promise, to make your dream, to make your journey of greatness a reality, KMM will support you as much as we can. Sometimes towards the end of this session, in details in the next session, I will speak to you about how KMM will support the youth in times to come. Till now, we have supported children for these 3 months, 7 sessions. This year, it's going to change. And we are going to support the kids for the next 5 years. Not just 3 months, 5 years. More details in the next session. When you say this inside the classroom, and as my darling friends present over here listen to me, I know a thought that you will have. Naren, I am ordinary. World class? Me? I have quite a few limitations. World class? Me? Well, let me show you something. Maybe some of you will know what this is. This is an uncut diamond. Looks like a piece of coal. Looks like a mashed up piece of bauxite, aluminum ore. But it is an uncut diamond. You go to a jeweler shop and he offers you this. You're definitely not going to buy it. But what if we cut it, we polish it, and the jeweler presents you something like this? I assume you're going to buy it, right? If you have the money, of course. I believe every human being is a diamond. Some of us have not been polished yet. I believe each one of us can reach where we want to reach. I believe we are born to be great. There was a party going on in a house. This house belonged to some Britishers, royalty. And they had 2 Negroes who were working as slaves in that house. So this story comes from that time when slavery was prevalent in UK. The child of the owners was celebrating her birthday party. And these slaves with some meager savings had collected their money and bought a gift for Miss Shelley. They approached Miss Shelley at the end of the party and said, "Happy birthday, Miss Shelley." The guests were still there. Some were about to leave. And then looked back at how dare these Negroes come inside the party. And Miss Shelley nonchalantly looked at these Negroes and said, "Wait for a little more while. The party is almost over. Have the leftovers before you retire for the night." Everybody in the party turned around to now see who are being offered leftovers. And they found this is 2 Negro kids. Negro kids, it's okay. And they continued with their merry. But these 2 kids could not take it. The small baby child who was hardly about 10 years old and a brother who was about 14 years old. The small baby ran out of the house and she kept on asking this one question to herself: why am I black? Why am I born as black? Why life as a black? And the brother ran behind her. Just outside the house, there was a beach. And both brother and sister sat down on the sand of the beach. And they were crying. In a little while, they found there is a gas balloon vendor who comes in this cycle. And he's saying, "Buy gas balloons, buy gas balloons, buy gas balloons." And this gas balloon fellow was a very smart fellow. He was a very, very smart fellow. To ensure that children get attracted to him, he would release a red balloon. As the red balloon is going up, the children will be fascinated. They would run to their parents and they would tell, we want that balloon, which one that balloon? After some time, he would release a blue balloon, and as it went up, some other children would come, we want that balloon, we want that balloon. And that is how he would sell his balloons. This young child saw the gas balloon vendor. Such deep was the impact of the experience she had at the birthday party. She approached that gas balloon vendor and asked, Uncle, you released the red balloon, it went up. You released the blue balloon, it went up. You released the white balloon and it went up. If you release a black balloon, will it go up? So deep was the impact of the evening's incident. The child had started to believe nothing black can ever go up. Nothing black can ever be great. Nothing black can ever succeed. And the 10-year-old child, in all the innocence, asks, if you release a black balloon, will it go up? The gas balloon vendor was a good human being. He took out a black balloon from his bag, filled it up with gas, and then looking at the child, he told the child, yes, my child, if I released the red one, it went up. I released the blue one, it went up. I released the white one, it went up. And this black balloon, see, it also goes up. And then he made an extraordinary statement. And the statement was, it is not the outside of the balloon which decides whether the balloon will go up or not. It is the inside of the balloon which decides whether the balloon will go up or not. And all of us are made of the same inside stuff. You and me are made of the same inside stuff. All the great people ever born on this planet, and you and me, are made of the same inside stuff. If there is anybody in this world who has succeeded very big, the power that created him is the same power which has created you and me. It's just a choice. The day you decide, I am going to create a masterpiece of a life. And you remember those 4 things. I will put in efforts like nobody's business. I will grab the opportunities I get and maximize my potential. I know there will be adversities and they won't shake me. They will only make me determined. And I'll ensure I don't feel alone and I'm not alone in the path of my growth. I will help enough people to grow along with me. Believe that you are born to win and not to lose. At this point of the session, let's play a game. I'm sure some of you like games. Let's play a game. I'm going to ask you some questions. And if your answer is right, turn on the camera. If the answer is wrong, or if the answer is no, turn off the camera. Okay? Let's do that. All of you, turn the cameras off. Okay, I'm giving you 15 seconds. Turn your cameras off. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Whoever has turned it off, whoever could turn it off, has turned it off. Here is my question. All of us every now and then get compared in our life. Now I'm going to give you some scenarios and ask you, have you ever been compared for this? If your answer is yes, turn the camera on. If the answer is no, keep the camera off. Okay? First, have you ever been compared with somebody else and told you are slow in eating? Has anyone ever told you that? You are very slow in eating. क्या इतना धीरे धीरे खाता है? Have you ever told anybody you are slow in eating? क्यों इतना धीरे धीरे खाते हो? Second question. Has anyone ever told you you are very lazy? If the answer is yes, turn the camera on. Great. Third, has anyone ever told you why your things are not in place? If the answer is yes, turn the camera on. Has anyone ever told you your things are not in place? If you're married, your wife has definitely told you. If you're a child, one of your parents has definitely told you. Next, has anyone ever told you, why are you late? If the answer is yes, turn your camera on. Has anyone ever told you, you will never understand me? If you are married husband, your wife would have definitely told you this. And if you're married wife, your husband would have definitely told you this. You will never understand me. If you have been to college, you would have definitely told this to your friends, and your friends would have definitely told this to you. If you're a parent, you might have told this to your children. You will never understand how much I do for you. Next, has anyone ever told you, why are you on the phone so much? Huh? If the answer is yes, switch the cameras on. Okay. Final two questions. Has any one of you ever been compared with somebody else because of your marks? वो शर्मा जी का बेटा को देखो, kinds. Finally, have you ever compared yourself with somebody else because of your looks? You wondered why you are not better looking. Let's be very honest over here. Beautiful. Now I request all of you to switch your cameras on. 15 seconds. Please, fatafat. Switch your cameras on. Super. Here is my question. How do you feel when you're compared with somebody else? When you're compared, how do you feel? There are three ways in which we normally respond to comparison. We become sad and we withdraw. We become angry and we throw tantrums. And third, it does not affect us at all. One of the three will happen. Like in my childhood, I remember, not exactly my childhood, around the age of 18 and 19, I had a healthy appetite. So I remember my grandfather always calling me bhukkad. Ye bhukkad hai. And it would really hurt me. I get hungry. And if I eat, what's wrong? And when somebody looks at you and says you're a bhukkad, it almost feels like something is really wrong with you. And can you imagine you telling a 2-year, 3-year-old child, tu bhukkad hai, tu bhukkad hai? Can you imagine the child believing at the age of 2 and 3 and 4 that something is wrong with me, eating is wrong, matlab galat kar raha hu main kuch life mein? And they don't, it's not in their control, it's not their choice. The hunger is there means hunger is there. I would get very, very angry when I would be told, tu bhukkad hai. It was almost like you are ungrateful. Of course, I often be compared because of my size. My entire schooling time, I would be called Motu. And that will make me very sad. And after I moved into training, I remember when I went back from Pune to Chennai to meet my parents, there were a few smart relatives at my home. And Papa was talking about, Naren is doing this and Naren is doing that and he's doing these things in school. And this is the kind of impact we are creating. And my relative just looked at me and say, वो सब फालतू की बात रहने दो, पैसा कितना कमाता है बोलो. And I said, we go to schools and it's a voluntary movement. He says, वो सब रहने दो, पैसा कितना मिलता है ये बोलो. By then I had reached that stage where criticism of money does not affect me. So 3 ways in which we respond to criticism. Either we become sad and we withdraw, or we get angry and throw tantrums, or we go beyond it. We know that the world has some other needs, I have some other needs, it's okay. Let me ask all of you a question. And I would love it if you can share your answer in the chat box. Which comparison do you find difficult to handle? Some of us get compared because of looks, somebody because of money, somebody because of education, somebody because of family, somebody because of the way we drive a vehicle, somebody because of the way we stay or the size of the house we stay in. The world will always compare us. And as they compare us, they will attempt to jail us. They will create these bars of comparison and make us prisoners. And so often, if comparison makes us angry or sad, we fill our heart with negative emotions. So which comparison do you find it difficult to handle? In the slide which just went by, we saw that there is this guy who's attempting to push the rock up the mountain. Sometimes handling comparison can feel like this. The rock is effortlessly on us, but we have to stop it. Handling comparison sometimes becomes like this. For those of us who find many comparisons difficult to handle, here, let me share some amazing things with you. Let's take a few examples of people who are super successful and very famous. Remo D'Souza. Remo D'Souza does not have Amitabh's personality. Amitabh Bachchan. Amitabh Bachchan does not have Mukesh Ambani's wealth. Mukesh Ambani. He does not have the respect a soldier has. Soldier, The soldier does not have the education like Nobel Prize winners and university toppers have. And the Nobel Prize winners, C.V. Raman in this case, does not have the dancing ability of Remo D'Souza. However, all of them are living a great life, aren't they? Every gas balloon can go to the top, can't it? There will always be something in us which is not as good as somebody else. Now, how do I deal with comparison? Here, I will share with you 3 ways by which we can deal with comparison and ensure comparison never creates a prisoner out of you. Point number 1, never compare yourself with people on matters where you have no control. I know there are some people who have a regret that they are not very tall. And their height to them is like a thorn by their side. Let me just share with you about 3 people who live an extraordinary life. But they don't have great height. And these 3 people kind of prove I don't need great height to live a great life. Who are these 3 people? Sachin Tendulkar, Amir Khan, and Messi. Ronaldo fans, please forgive me. These 3 people say, I don't need height to live a great life. Some of us have been compared because of our looks. These few people can say, I don't need great looks to live a great life. Let me give you just 2 examples. They are not great looking, but probably the whole world knows about them. How about this? Some people believe that they are not good enough because they don't have a great financial background. And these people prove that without a great financial background, I can still live a great life. Who are these people? Jeff Bezos, Bansals of Flipkart, Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Let me tell you a little about Vijay Shekhar Sharma. His father is a principal in a village near Aligarh in UP. His father was so principled, he refused to take tuition classes and money because he would say, children have already paid for their education in the school. Now, how can I take money for teaching them what I should have taught to them in the first place? Vijay Shekhar Sharma's English was horrible when he came to Delhi University to learn. And he would compare himself with the child in Tare Zameen Par saying, whatever the teacher was saying in English. And to me, it looked like gibberish and garbage. Kuch samajh mein nahi aaya. He failed in a few attempts. Obviously, he had no money to begin his life with. And do you know, a few years ago, he became a billionaire in our country. Today's net worth is somewhere around $2.3 billion, which means he has about 17,000 crores. That's his value. I don't need a strong financial background for me to live a great life. So point number 1, how to deal with comparison? Never compare yourself with others on matters where you have no control. On my height, I have no control. On my looks, I have no control. On my parents' financial acumen and their savings, on my financial background, I have no control. Don't feel low or less because of these. Point number 2, never compare yourself with things that are not important to you. The world might say it is important, but you decide whether it is important enough or not. You will live by your standards. You will not live by the world standards. What do I mean by that? Look at these people. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Ursula Burns, APJ Abdul Kalam, and Steve Jobs. Each one of them ruled the world through what they have done and what they have achieved. When Dhoni came to play cricket, he came from a small place called Ranchi, and he had this huge hair. Absolutely unconventional, not like anybody else. I mean, people would say, no, cricket is about discipline. You can't have long hairs. He would say, let me face 6 balls. And in that, hit a few sixes. He lived by his standards. Ursula Burns. She was born in the ghettos of New York, a place which was famous for crime. And her mother told her, where you are does not define where you will be. She's black, she's a woman. And you will be glad to know she was the first woman ever to become the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. She became the CEO of Xerox. Today she's on the board of Nestle, Uber. In a world where people say it's difficult for women to rise. On top of that, if you're a black woman, the equivalent in our country may be somebody who comes from scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, very, very poor background, coming from great disadvantaged background, and a woman on that. And she said, I care a damn about the world standards. I will live by my own standards. When India wanted to have its nuclear policy and the whole world will not cooperate, and APJ Abdul Kalam says, we are going to create magic. Forget about the world's expectations, forget about the world standards. We will live by our own standards. When computers would be made in a very different way, Steve Jobs completely changed the world by bringing in design and elegance to computers and technology. Don't live by the world standards. Never compare yourself with others on matters that are not important to you. Somebody can look at a Mahendra Singh Dhoni and say, you are from a very small town. That's the truth, but it's not important for me. Somebody can look at Ursula Burns and say, you're a woman and that too black, kuch zyada ho nahi paaye. That's your standards, not mine. I live by my standards. World will compare you and say you are this and you are that. Live by your standards and not the world standards. Third, use comparison to learn, to become better and to be inspired. In areas where you want to make a mark, get inspired because of comparison. For example, PV Sindhu was lazy one of those days when she did not want to go and exercise. Her father just whispered in her ears, you know, your competitor who's coming first, she has gotten up at 4:30 in the morning and started her practice. If you get up at 6 o'clock and practice, how will you ever be able to catch up? If your competitors are working for 10 hours and they are ahead of you and you want to be ahead of them, their work discipline, their sense of priorities should be able to inspire you. So compare to learn. You know, in the World Badminton Tour, one of the biggest competitors for PV Sindhu is this lady called Carolina Marin. Now, Carolina is super aggressive on the court. PV Sindhu asked her coach, do I need to become aggressive? Because by nature, I am very chilled out. And her coach, Gopichand, said, as a person, you are brilliant the way you are. But as a professional, when it comes to being out there on the court aggression will definitely take your game to the next level. Because on the court aggression is also about psychology. It unnerves your opponents. They can feel your energy and intensity and they take a backseat. So many times when Carolina has been aggressive, you have been a little taken aback, a little tentative, and we have lost matches. She hired a South Korean coach to make her game aggressive too. She got inspired by her competitor. Tiger Shroff was inspired by Hrithik Roshan. Initially, he just wanted to be an action hero. But we saw Hrithik and said, he's a great action hero. At the same time, what a fabulous dancer. I am also going to develop my dancing skills. And today, Tiger Shroff is not only one of the fittest actors, he's also one of the classiest dancers that we have in the industry. In areas where you want to make a mark, use comparison and make yourself better. So 3 ways by which you should ideally deal with comparison. Never compare yourself with others on matters where you have no control. Never compare yourself with others on matters that are not important to you. And use comparison to learn, to become better, and to be inspired in areas where you want to make a mark. See, the truth is, none of us can ever be great in everything or every aspect of life. Being great in everything is just not possible. So we need to make a choice where we want to become great. So a tortoise can't run. An elephant can't jump. A horse can't hunt. And the lions don't have stamina. Do you know a lion can run at peak speed, which is about 35 miles per hour, for a maximum of 200 meters? After 200 meters, they lose their stamina. So if they're attacking a prey, the prey just has to escape for 200 meters. So a tortoise can't run, but tortoise represents eternal life. An elephant can't jump, but no animal in the jungle ever takes panga with an elephant. A horse can't hunt, but the horse represents power. In the whole world, power is horsepower. Lions don't have stamina, but they rule the jungle with their ferocity. Imagine the lion looking at a horse and saying, "Yaar, I want your stamina." And in that, it will lose its ferocity. Madani. Imagine the horse saying, "I wish nobody takes panga with me," and attempts to feel sorry and low because of the elephant. Madani. Imagine the elephant looking at the tortoise and saying, "I wish I can be in the ocean as well as on land the way you are. You can swim for thousands of kilometers. Main nahi kar sakta yaar." There will always be enough places in your life where you are not as great as the world, but it doesn't matter to you. Learn to ignore it. Play to your strength. Start living a life where you play to your strength. What do you think is your strength? Can you say that, okay, I'm as faithful as the dog, as graceful as the cat, I have the memory of an elephant, I am as swift as a horse? What's your strength? Let me share with you a few things that I believe are my strengths. And I base my entire life on my strengths. I think big. That's my strength. Which means my resources, my past does not define how I imagine. I imagine based on possibility. I think big. Till last year, we impacted 33,000 lives in KMM. This year, you know what is the goal that we have set for ourselves? We want to impact 3 lakh lives. We want to grow almost 10 times in a single year. 10 times. In COVID times, when the whole world is a little morose and on the back foot, we are saying, chhod yaar, karte hain kuch kamal. Let's do some magic together. And with your presence, I'm very confident this year we will impact 3 lakh lives. I think big. That's my strength. I keep moving. I don't carry anything negative from the past with me, which means I don't grumble. I don't refer to the past and feel sad. I look forward to life. When we stayed in Calcutta, there used to be an annual pilgrimage to Tarkeshwar. The way we have the Varis over here and the Palkis in Pune, similarly in Calcutta, there would be something called Tarkeshwar Yatra, where bhakts of Shiva will carry that dandi on their shoulders. There will be water in a kamandal in front and a water in another kamandal behind. And with that water, they will keep saying, Bhole Baba par karega, Bhole Baba par karega, and travel almost 100 kilometers bare feet. My father would be one of those people who will travel every year. And when he would come back, his legs would have sores. I will help it clean it. And these are the times when once I remember I asked him, Papa, why do you go through so much suffering? Why so much pain? I mean, if you sit at home and remember Bhole Baba, will Shivji not bless you? He just smiled and said, Beta, I take this opportunity to remind me of one very important thing in life. You know, there are these 2 kamandals. I keep telling myself, जो तुमने लोगों का अच्छा किया है, वो भूल जाओ. जो लोगों ने तुम्हारे साथ बुरा किया है, वो भी भूल जाओ. जो तुमको अच्छा करना है, वो आगे रखो. और जो लोगों ने तुम्हारे साथ अच्छा करा है, वो आगे रखो. Which means what people have done good to you, keep it always in front of your eyes. The good that you want to do to people, keep it in front of your eyes. The good you have already done to people, forget about it. The bad that people have already done to you, forget about it. And it has kind of stayed with me forever. And therefore, I carry gratitude from the past. I do not carry anything negative from the past with me. Gratitude is my strength. Responsibility is my strength. I can take the biggest of responsibilities and still be very, very effortless. I don't get scared by responsibilities. It excites me. It creates determination inside me. Inside the classroom, each one of you will share about at least 3 good qualities that you think you have. And you know, when you share about your good quality, do not compare your good quality with somebody else's same good quality. So let's say I think big. Now I need not compare my thinking big with somebody else's thinking big. I have 1 lakh and I dream of earning 10 lakhs. That is thinking big for me, which is good enough. Somebody else might be thinking of 1 crore. All the best to them. Let's do something. Write down 3 qualities that you believe are good in you and share it in the chat box. Just a quality, something that you like about yourself. You don't have to be the best in the world in that, but it is something that you like about yourself. Helpful, hardworking, purity at heart, good sense of humor, outgoing, focused, very well planned. Whatever you think are the good qualities that you have, which will help you to succeed in life. Aha, beautiful, fantastic. Lovely. Lovely. So you have time for the next 10 days to think a little deeper about these good qualities that you have and how are these qualities helping you to construct your life. Hmm? Superb. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's summarize what we have attempted to discuss so far in today's session. And what is the soul of the session inside the classroom? Session number 1. Session number 1 is called Born to Win. What makes us believe that we won't be able to win or make it big in life? When we compare. Sometimes we compare ourselves with others and feel low. And sometimes the world compares us with others and we ensure that we feel low and not good enough. So sometimes we might look at our past and think we are not good enough. Sometimes the world reminds us of our past and tells us you are not good enough. So when we are compared, we might feel sad, we might feel ignore people, but the compare to handle is by ensuring that I will not compare myself with others on matters where I don't have control. I will not compare myself with others on matters which are not important to me. And I will use comparison to learn to be better and to get in. As a background, I understand none of us will ever be great in aspects of life. All of us can be great in aspects of life. The gives us the logical clarity on if I choose my greatness, then I will live a life where I believe, I experience that I am born to win. Now, at an emotional side, what should I do to feel great about myself? With this, you will complete the session. To defeat comparison and to live by our strengths, we need self-belief. ये एक रॉ मटेरियल तो मिल गया. I know this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm good at. But can we mix it with self-belief and powerful emotions? There are 4 ways to get your daily dose of self-belief. Now, you will also practice this daily dose from today onwards. And you will inspire the children inside the classroom to get this daily dose in their life. Now, what is this daily dose? A, reward yourself. Rewarding yourself releases an enzyme called dopamine in our system. How do you reward yourself? You know, you feel very good, you have self-belief when you complete a task that you started. When you take good care of yourself and when you celebrate the little wins of your life. Now, allow me to go a little in detail on this. Every day we have some tasks. Every day we have an opportunity to do a lot of things. Every time you complete a task, you will feel good about yourself. Every time you take good care of yourself, Like if you are hygienic, your things are well organized, you eat good food, you eat the right food at the right time, you take enough sleep for yourself, all these things, which is like you are taking good care of yourself. And finally, when you celebrate small wins, you do something well, you should pump yourself up. You should give yourself small rewards. You should do a little dance. You should clap. You should shout, yay. Maybe buy some things to you, which is important. Listen to a good piece of music. Buy a good shirt, good shoes, good socks, anything by which you reward yourself, where you give this feeling, here, I deserve a small reward. Pat yourself on the back. It could be going to your favorite restaurant and having some food over there. Every day, when you complete a task, when you take good care of yourself, when you celebrate little wins, you are filling yourself with self-belief. My darlings, it is so simple and so easy to fill ourselves with self-belief. All you need is daily dose. Dopamine, you get by completing a task, taking good care of yourself, and celebrating the small wins. Then there is another thing. There are some things which is called things which help you to create connections, things which are your mood enhancers. When you enhance your mood and make your mood better, it fills you with oxytocin. Now, what fills you with oxytocin? Again, something which makes you feel very good. Hugging. And all of us, even though these are COVID times and protocol and all that stuff, we stay at home, we stay with people, we do meet some friends. Hugging kind of takes your pain away. It helps you to release stress. It helps you make believe that you are not alone. So when you hug people, you feel very good. Then when we appreciate people, appreciating people is like magic. Because you are creating connection. You know that you have the capacity to see good. As a result of which, in a very subtle way, you start seeing the good in your life, and therefore it enhances your mood. Every cloud has a silver lining, becomes natural for you when you have the habit of appreciating people. And touch, hence playing with pets. These things releases oxytocin in you, helps you to create very deep connections. And third is very exciting. It is called mood enhancers, which is all about serotonin. Serotonin is deeply taking care of yourself and releasing all the negative emotions very beautifully and creatively. Something as simple as exercise, playing games. Have you ever experienced this? Irrespective of the emotion with which you began exercise, you were down, you were sad, you were dull. At the end of the exercise, you feel a very big high. You have a sense of achievement. You feel, wow, maza aa gaya. Exercise is called mood enhancer. Playing games. And that's why friends are so important. Mood enhancers. And in today's time, friends are not there, playing with the family. Mood enhancers. And that's why meditation is also a mood enhancer. It just helps you to release all the pent-up negative emotions and feel light and be light. And fourth and the final, endorphins. What do I do to remove negative emotions? Now look at it, very simple. So simple. Laughter. Surround yourself with people who laugh. Have friends who laugh. It can be silly jokes, stupid jokes, it can be PJs, doesn't make a difference. Laughter is one of the best therapies that you can ever do. Laughter is a great medicine. Imagine you're going through a lot of stress. Huh? And imagine at that point of time, somebody makes you laugh. What happens? You forget about all the stress and you relax. Suddenly, after laughter, you think, handle kar sakta hai. Laughter is a proof that you are the master of your life, you are in control. Laughter has the power to remove negative emotions. Massage. These negative emotions goes and settle down in our muscles and in our joints. And when somebody is giving us a massage, they are helping release those negative emotions. And obviously, a massage also helps to release very beautifully oxytocin in our body, because touch is there. And then finally, for endorphins, indulging myself in any hobby. Hobbies like dancing, like singing, like painting, such beautiful hobbies. When I have these hobbies, it helps me to kind of separate my life and the challenges I have at one end and gives me fulfillment at the other end. So these four together are called the daily dose. If you fill your life with daily dose, and it can be, all of this should be done on a daily basis. You reward yourself, you create connections, you have mood enhancers, and you know how to remove negative emotions. You will find that you are a master to your life. You will find, irrespective of the challenge you are going through, you will still believe in yourself, think big, and create a deep impact. You will find you have this self-belief that my past does not define me. It is my dreams followed by the actions on those dreams which defines me. Now, the beauty about this daily doses, all of us can have it as often in every day. All of us can have it, whether you are with strangers, whether you are at home, or you are traveling somewhere outside. You are with friends, you are at office, or you are working from home. Doesn't make a difference. But this daily dose is available to you. If any one of you wants to live your life with self-belief, where you want to reinforce to yourself that, yes, I am born to win. Yes, I am born to win. Yes, I am born to win. Just ensure this daily dose is with you. When we began the session today, I shared with you one Jamshedji Tata, and the whole world notices that this is a country which believes in giving, in sharing, in impacting. When I speak with people, everybody would say India should be the number one country in the world. I respect that. And I love it. And I also understand, for that to become a reality, we need to have world-class dreams in whatever that we are doing in our life. When you believe that you are born to win, dreaming big things will become effortless for you. Not only in getting things for yourself, not only in achieving things for yourself, But you will also experience in yourself an extraordinary power called the power to give. What is common to all the 375 plus friends present over here today is, you know you have the power to give, you have the will to give. And that is why you have joined hands with Keep Moving Movement. Go inside the classroom and ignite a fire in the bellies of those youngsters and make them believe that they are born for extraordinary things. A couple of years ago, when I was a chief guest for a program at Sholapur, they were celebrating the 75th year of the establishment of that school. Huge school. We had about 1,500 teachers from all parts of the district. We had more than 1,000 parents present there. And as a part of my speech with them, I asked the teachers, when you go inside the classroom and you look at a boy who's not paying attention, what are your thoughts? When you go inside the classroom and you see a boy who only wants to play and does not want to study, what are your thoughts? Obviously, the teacher said, it's disturbing, they should pay attention, parents are not taking care of themselves at all, mobile phone is destroying this generation. And then I told them, do you know when Mahendra Singh Dhoni was in school, he did not even want to be inside the classroom? And his school sports teacher said, you will do very well in sports. And he held on to that statement and became one of the most successful captains and cricketers the world has seen. Not many people in the world have a shot which is completely uniquely theirs, and he has that helicopter shot. Now, when a teacher goes inside the classroom, they have a tendency to label the students. Good student, attentive student, smart student, always asking questions, always disturbing. And we are comparing them with the expectations we have from them. On the other hand, if you can go inside the classroom and say, today in my classroom, there is somebody who's a future Nobel Prize winner. And this session called Born to Win is going to ignite their journey in that direction. Today inside my classroom, there is going to be a Padma Shri. And the way I'm going to deliver the session, that child will take up one statement that I'm saying and make it as the turning point of their life. Today inside my classroom, there is going to be a person who's going to be the turning point and inspire this whole country, maybe like a Kiran Bedi. And today when I talk about self-belief and born to win, that child might be going through some personal struggle, but this session will completely transform their life. When you go inside the classroom with zero judgments, 100% intensity, and a will to create an impact, watch the magic unfold. And who knows, 20, 30 years down the line, in a TV interview which is happening, why only a Padma Shri, a Bharat Ratna would say, in the year 2021, I was in this school studying in class 10. And in the month of July, we had a session called Born to Win. And there I had a teacher who I had never met in life, who said this and changed my life. Till then, I didn't believe in myself and people hardly believed in me. But this person, the way they looked at me and spoke with intensity, it changed my life. And today, whatever I am in life, a big part of it is because of this person. When you go inside the classroom, carry a sense of mission. The way a soldier carries in their heart when they are on duty. The session is Born to Win. Today, we have a friend with us whose life is a story of Born to Win. Traditionally, when a person is introduced, they're introduced with where they were born, their academic excellence, their journey, their milestones. But in Life School and in Keep Moving movement, we do not introduce people that way. Hence, we never ask anybody for their CV. We introduce people based on what we have felt with them. What are the personal experiences we have with them? And I'm going to introduce my dear friend similarly to all of you. Hey, Govind, thanks for coming.
I'm so happy to be here. My pleasure.
So, my friends, I have had the opportunity to interact with Govind sporadically across the last 6 years. When I was the lead partner for an organization called Jagriti, once Govind had visited that place and he had some very sweet words of praise saying, Naren, you have done a good job with them. At that time, I didn't know Govind. I just had met him for the first time. After that, we bumped into each other in a few conferences where I heard him speak. More importantly, I heard people speak about him. Now, what a few friends said is, he's a man with very clear vision, very, very hands-on, and he delivers what is promised. He puts in heart and soul in everything that he does. And that is what defines him. He is the India chair of an organization called SVP. And there I had occasions to interact with him. The effort that he is taking to lead this organization and live up to the promise that it has inspires me. What many people would say is extremely difficult, he believes it's not important what is difficult. What is important is it possible? And it reminds me of the words of Muhammad Ali, who said, impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they have been given rather than to explore the power they have to change it. Muhammad Ali goes on to say, impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. These are the words of Muhammad Ali. When I interact with Govind, when I speak with him, and more importantly, when I listen to him, I get this feeling that he also doesn't care about the obstacles in life. He also doesn't care about whether his choice is difficult or easy. If he believes in something, he wants to go all out and actually get it done. It's very rare today to find people of his caliber. He's a person who has the ability to carry people with him. You know, they say, no one can whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play it. Now, he believes in having that orchestra and allowing everybody to come to the surface and make themselves visible as a master. A few days ago, I requested Govind, would it be possible for you to come and share a little of your time and a lot of your wisdom with us? And very gladly, he accepted our invitation. So Govind, thank you so much once again for coming here.
Thank you very much for having me here. I've been here for the last 15 minutes and I'm completely overwhelmed by some of the thoughts you're sharing, Indra. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to share. Thank you.
So, Govind, you work a lot in these social spaces. You have been a part of Give India, and what you have done through Give India, through the COVID response, has been truly remarkable. So would you like to share with us a little about what has been done by Give India for the COVID response?
No, I'm definitely going to do that, Narendra, but I'm going to also take a couple of minutes with your permission to talk a little bit about some of the very, very interesting things you mentioned early on about how to motivate and how to not label people, how to look at, I love your words, the daily dose. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what led me to be who I am.
Yes, please.
Because that's an important, so when I was in the third standard, I failed in a few subjects. I was disappointed, but not despondent. I knew that I could do better, and I did do better. And then in the sixth standard, I was studying in Ahmedabad, for those who may be from Gujarat. And I had a professor there who was Father RVT, who was focused only on social service. That was his mission. And we went to a village in Vasna, which is close to Ahmedabad, which had been washed out by the floods. And every Saturday, we used to help rebuild that village.
Oh, wow.
And that got me very motivated to say, here's something I can do. Taking bricks, putting cement, didn't seem like a very challenging task. And that started my journey in sort of giving, not myself, but helping others to help themselves. And I did that till about the 9th or 10th standard, after which academics took over. And I forgot about making a difference to others till I turned 50, 9 years ago.
Oh.
And I was at a session, where somebody asked me a question, which is asked the entire student body. This was in Cathedral School where my children studied, and it was the honors, the annual day. He said, which are the two most important days of your life? And he asked the kids to name the two most important. Most people would say the day you're born. And he said the second day. And some parents said, oh, the day my son was born, my daughter was born, the day my grandchild was born. And he said, no, according to him, the second most important day is when you discover why you entered this world. Why are you here and what's your purpose? The day you discover that is your second most important day. And for me, it was on my 50th birthday when I discovered that I had created a lot of goodwill over the years with people around me through genuine authenticity. And I said, how can I leverage that for making a difference to the world? And that's what led me to work with a couple of other colleagues and start Social Venture Partners, extend my goodwill and network to others, and say my giving back starts now, and shamelessly seek the help of people that I have helped and that have helped me, and give to them. And that's what led me to be who I am today in the last 9 years. And I'm so delighted that that session that I attended, the person who said that is a very, very renowned person in India. His name is Harsh Mariwala. He's the chairman of Marico. Some of you may have used parachute oil, you may be knowing. And I was very motivated by that comment. And till today, I feel that is the day that I arrived when I said, that's going to be my journey. So then that's what happened with me then. And Social Venture Partners was my start. And I've done a lot there. Specifically, a question about Give India. It's an organization, for those who don't know, which is really a technology platform started in the late 90s by a gentleman called Venkat. I am Ahmedabad graduate, sitting in Ahmedabad, working in a school called Eklavya. He started also and said, I need to do something different. And he was all of maybe early 30s. And he decided to set up this platform where donors can meet donees. So he would go and qualify NGOs, put them on the technology platform, and a donor could say, I want to give 100 rupees to this women's empowerment NGO, to this educational NGO or something. And he created this platform. And then he went to employees and got them on, etc. When COVID hit, we decided to do something different. We said, this is the time for us to take the 2,000 NGOs we have on our platform and get them to impact the country. So what we did is we went out and raised a fund. The first time we've ever done it. We went and talked to, as I mentioned earlier, shamelessly, I reached out to many people that I know. And our CEO, Atul Satija, very, very inspirational person. He went out and we raised a fund of 250 crores from India and the US in 31 days.
Wow.
And that fund we then deployed to impact about 6 million people across India through humanitarian needs, through livelihoods. And we are an organization that's completely vetted, that's got all our NGOs that actually comply to what our needs are. And if they don't, they get off our platform, very simply. That's their choice, completely their choice. And in 2021, when the second wave came in, we said we have to do more in healthcare. And so we went out and raised 750 crores. And now we are in the journey of impacting healthcare across about 400 hospitals around the country, 200 directly, 200 indirectly, where we are building oxygen plants. We are really enabling the ecosystem. And we've been really privileged to have big philanthropists really contribute to our cause, and big organizations come to the fore and make a difference. And our mission is, how can we really make a difference to India? And that's really what we are trying to do. It's a baby steps so far, Nandra, but we are committed that in the next 5 years, if India is going to try and build a social infrastructure in support with the government, state governments, the local governments, to really make a difference.
Wow. Govind, you spoke about being authentic and genuine as a part of all the network that you have created. Could you speak a little about that?
So I have experienced this personally, and so that's why I probably come there, that, every relationship you build, you've got to build without the intent of getting back. You should not build it with any intent of getting something from that relationship. Because the probability is you will get something from another relationship that you never really thought you built. But they felt touched by you and they are giving back. So never expect anything from anybody, either your children, your spouse, your parents or grandparents, or anybody around you. And the moment you change your dimension from expectation to giving, your honesty and authenticity comes in. Because authenticity gets clouded when you have an agenda, when you have a desire. And in my career, I work with a company called Egon Zehnder, where I work with 19 other colleagues who are in the market. And it's so amazing to see that a lot of times I get work from my clients because another colleague has done fabulous work with another client that has told them to use us. And it's not because of me. And many times I believe it's me, but it's not me. It's because another colleague. And I've seen that so many times happen. And that has more and more reinforced to me that my relationship is not mine. It's actually a function of many people impacting that relationship. And so to me, authenticity is a word which doesn't happen. It's what you create. It's how you believe in yourself. And I love the positivity which Naren, you talked about earlier. I'm an eternal optimist, and I believe nothing, anything bad that's happening to me is happening for a reason, because there's another door somewhere that is going to open. So I've never felt that something bad is happening to me and I am miserable about it. And this has been my journey of life. I think my parents my father particularly inculcated this in me, that nothing can be overcome if you believe that it's happening for a good reason. If you believe it's happening for a bad reason, you will get negative. You will have negativity in your mind. And that's, I guess, somewhere I've grown up with that value system.
Oh, wow. Govind, in life, you must also have had your share of setbacks. You really believe that if somebody has grown to the top of their career, who has lived a complete life, who's carrying a lot of responsibilities, their life has setbacks. So in reference to any setback of your life, how did you process it? And how did the future then shape up? Would you like to say something on that?
Yeah, I know I'd love to say something on that. And it's particularly relevant for a lot of this audience, but also for me. I love my school days. School has been one of the most joyful moments of my life. And my school friends will live with me till I die, really. But I enjoyed it so much that Narendra, I didn't pay attention on academics so much. And I thought it'll come about, but I love my school days. And I was a very, very social person. So the 12th standard in St. Xavier's, I got a really, really, really bad result. I got 62%, I passed, but it was nowhere close to my aspiration of doing engineering. I cried for 24 hours. And then I got into St. Xavier's College in Ahmedabad, a college that I was a very good college, but I wanted to do engineering. And I went there and I had such a lovely time for 8 weeks, doing debates, and I said, I don't want to leave here because for me, the environment was more important. But then I got into engineering college at Vidyanagar, which is in Anand. And my father said, you want to do engineering, go there. And I said, but Dad, I love St. Xavier's. He says, yeah, but BSc in maths or chemistry is good, but engineering is better. So I went there. I liked it there. I didn't love it. And then in December, I got into a college called Regional Engineering College, Trichy, which is south of India. And I went there. So my first setback was I've struggled in my academics. I never want to struggle again. So I went to college in Trichy with a clear mission that I'm going to come in the top 10% of the class, come what may. And that was the only way to get my stream of engineering and mechanical engineering. And I managed to do that. And that was a big achievement for me because I proved to myself that hard work and focus can deliver results when I want them to. In the past, my hard work and focus was elsewhere, not on academics. And after I did that, I continued to be good in academics, but I then decided to explore my journey in college, and I loved my college days. So the first setback that I really had significantly was at that point. The second setback happened when in 1990, I was in Australia and I got diagnosed with what's called pericarditis, which means there's water around the heart. I was all of 28, and the doctor said, you'll probably have a heart attack anytime now. And you've come to meet me, but how are you going? I want to admit you to the hospital. And I said, I've driven here. So he said, no, leave your car here, take a taxi, go straight to the hospital. You may need to have an open heart surgery. I walked out of the clinic completely dazed and said, this is not my life. This can't be true. I went home, talked to 3 friends, got them to get my insurance papers, and I went to the hospital. Now, it turned out it wasn't so serious. But at that moment, I said, my life is very fickle. Tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen to me. Today, I don't know what's going to happen. So every day of my life, I'm going to do something that I feel good about. And I feel good about making a difference. And it's that journey that I've never been scared of anything, but I was scared of death. And when I realized it was so much around the corner, I said, there's no point being scared of death anymore. It's enjoy the joy of living. So it wasn't a setback, Narendra, but it was a moment of time for me, which made me reflect, if I had to use that term.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Govind, what made you choose your current profession? Because it's very different compared to the earlier part of your corporate career where it was more about marketing. So what made you make this shift?
So, I used to work in Procter & Gamble and Coca-Cola for many years in Heinz in marketing. And then I joined a company, for some of you who may not know it, called Egon Zehnder. Egon Zehnder is a Swiss firm. You can check it up on the net. And it's an organization that serves people and leadership situations of companies. And so we really work with people. And I think what motivated me to join them was the culture, Narendra. It's an organization started by our founder, Egon Zehnder, who fundamentally believes in the fact that there's only one motivator in life, and that's people recognizing that they have to work collaboratively without measures. So we are one of the few firms in the world that has no measurement criteria. We all get paid equally. We all get paid irrespective of geography equally. We do not get paid based on performance. And we are a self-motivated, self-organized workforce where we all help each other grow.
Wow.
There are 550 of us in the firm as consultants. There are companies like Harvard Business School that have done 6 case studies on Egon Zehnder to say, how is this company surviving? Forget thriving. It completely beats the bastion of any known carrot and stick model. You give the carrot and then you give the stick to get things happen.
Yes.
And I think he created a culture which is so unique that attracted me, which is making all of us go through a journey of working together and focusing on our clients. So not focusing on ourselves. And I think that is what attracted me the most, Narendra, and that's what keeps me here for 22 and a half years.
Wow.
And it's been a fabulous company. But just so that you know, I went through 30 interviews before I joined Egon Zero. 30, 30. I went through 5 continents, 5 countries, met many, and that's our Egon Zero model. And nobody joins the firm till they've met 25, 30 people. And we all have to collectively say yes. And if 2 or more people say no, we don't hire the person. So the name of the company, I think Vijay has asked me, it's called Egon Zender. I'll put it on the chat group.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing model because it's allowed all of us to be entrepreneurs within our own company and not feel the pressure of internal performance. It's more the pressure of external impact with our clients, with our friends in the industry, with our candidates, and deliver the best. So that's and I've stayed here for the culture. I've not stayed here for the work. The work has been a derivative of the impact I've had, but it's really the culture that's made a difference.
Wow. Wow. So, Govind, you straddle 2 very different things. At one end, it's about social work, social impact. At the other end, it's about the movers and shakers of the corporate world. So how effortless is riding these 2 horses? Or there is some mystery or some equation behind it?
So I think it's very difficult if you don't, and I'm going to share some inner thoughts, but it's very difficult to do this if you don't keep the one thing in your mind, which is humility. I remember this young researcher in my office who had joined us a year ago, and I was his guide. And I remember going and meeting the chairman of India's largest business group. And I came straight back to the office and I was spending 1 hour mentoring him. And he said, how can you do this? You go and meet the chairman of a company, then you come to me, I'm 29 years old, I've just joined. And I said, for me, both are equal. There's no difference between you and him. One has achieved a lot and you're on the journey of achieving a lot. So I think the moment you accept the fact that every human being is the same, and there is no movers and shakers, and there's no creators, and I think things change. And I'm maybe saying this simplistically, Narendra, but I really believe in it. And I believe in the fact that no human being is more important than another. Each of them achieve a lot more. You need to respect them. You need to value their judgment. But their achievements don't make them superior. Their achievements make them wiser. And the wisdom is what we need to take and not their titles. And I have actually declined going for opportunities and events where people say, we want the CEO of India to come there. And I've said, no, I don't want to go for that client. Because if they don't value my fellow partner the same way as they value me, because of my title, I'm no better. So I have, in my own way, tried to push this message down to a lot of people to say, the most important thing is valuing a human being and not valuing what they've achieved at their titles. Respecting that, but not giving them importance because of that. So that, and I loved your point earlier on about introducing the person from who they are versus what they've done. And I think that's the Egon Zender. Egon Zender's philosophy is, even when we do evaluation of candidates, we do not evaluate them on their achievements. We evaluate them on how they've achieved what they've achieved, because the how is more important than the what. The what many people do, but the how defines how they can make a difference to the new company they go to or the environment they are. So the how is more critical than the what.
Wow. Wow. So I have one more question for you. And in the meanwhile, those in the audience, in case you have any other question to ask, just key in the questions. We have about 10 more minutes with Govind, and we'll make the best of these 10 minutes. Govind, you are one of the chief signatories and promoters of Living My Promise. So my question has 2 parts. One, Would you like to share a little about what Living My Promise is all about? And two, was it easy to get your family on board for such a crucial, big decision that you made? Govind?
Yeah, sure. So Living My Promise is a movement, again, that Venkat, as you'll see, he's a theme in my life. He's like my godfather. He approached me in October 2018 when he got a call from somebody in Bangalore whose name was Girish Batra. Girish Batra happened to read in the papers or get to know, I don't know what the exact context was, about Giving Pledge, which is a movement signed or started by Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, where the billionaires of the world have chosen to come together and create, in India called the India Philanthropy Foundation, but create a movement where they will give back in whatever they've got, but they will give it towards causes that make a difference to society in a positive way. So he said, I'm not a billionaire, I'm probably a billionaire in paisa, but I'm not a billionaire in dollars. But what can I do? And so he and Venkat started this movement called Living My Promise. And I was one of the beneficiaries of joining early on, where we have all pledged that we will give 50% of all we have financially towards the social cause and social development during our lifetime or at our death. So when we've left this world, we're not going to take all we have up to God, but we are going to give it to causes that we would like to support. And so there are 85 of us, I think, last count, that have signed up to this pledge across India. A variety of people, a 32-year-old not-for-profit supporter, a 34-year-old social development person, a 59-year-old person like me, a 70-year-old person who's got enough and says, I'm going to go sometime and I want. So it's a variety of ages, a variety of professions, from the not-for-profit world, from the corporate world, from the investing world, from students who have just started their journey. And the Living My Promise movement is really just a pledge that you take, which is moral, which is binding for you. Nobody is monitoring you. Nobody's asking you to do it. As long as you feel deep in your heart that you want to do it, do it. And so we've come together as a group and we are all taking this pledge and we're all doing things in our own way to give back to society. And it's inspired me to see how many people have come forward and how many people are willing to come forward. So your question is, why did I sign and how did I sign it? So I was clear in my mind that I've grown up a self-made man, but with huge support from my parents till the age of 27, 28. Whether it's education, whether it's values, whether it's my first year of work when I wasn't earning much. But post that, I've been on my own. And I felt everything that I've earned in my life, I want to give to people who may not be having the opportunity to develop or build a system that allows people to develop. So it's not about giving charity, just to be very clear. It's about building capability. So I am not a charity giver. I am more a capability builder in the society. And so my contributions is not going to be to give somebody food or to give somebody. It'll be to go to the organization that can give it to them and build their capacity to give many more people food than me giving to one person. So I believe in that philosophy. So I spoke to my children and my wife. And I said, how do you feel about this? So my oldest boy, who was at that time about 23 or maybe 22, was just finishing college. And he said, I'll have a job. Dad, I'll be fine. And I said, my middle boy said, Dad, why 50? Why not 100? It's your life. It's your journey. Why do you need to leave anything for us? Maybe a house if we are on the streets, but that's about it, right? And my youngest was obviously concerned about his education. He was 14. I was 13 at that point. He says, Mera padhai to ho jayega na? I said, yeah, padhai will be fine. You'll be okay. But, and I said, there's 50% that you have and 50%. And so I had tremendous support from the family. My wife was fully supportive of this decision. And I feel blessed. I feel really blessed to have a family like that. And I feel blessed to be in a position where I can give something to others. And that's the journey, Narendra. The long answer to your short question.
No. So somebody has asked this question: how do you process and handle a crisis situation? Because in your work, you must have faced crisis situations.
Oh, daily. I'm firefighting through the day, completely through the day. I think the first is the belief that this situation has happened for a purpose and it's not a crisis. So first I process. And I'll give you examples, right? I'll give you examples, personal examples. So 9 o'clock in the night, my oldest son, is supposed to go to the US, back to college. He was studying in the US. We had to leave home at 9:30. And he suddenly tells me, Dad, I can't find my I-20 form. I-20 form is required to enter the US for students. I said, okay, relax. What's the issue? He said, I think I had it. I think I brought it. And children are children. I've also been like that. So I'm not blaming anybody. I'm also been very forgetful. I said, okay, so let's look around. Have you got a scanned copy in a computer? No. Have you got this? Okay. It's 9 o'clock India time. It's a Friday. Cornell, where he was studying, is open. Let's call them up. So I called up Cornell. I said, listen, my son is here. He is not finding the I-20. Is it possible for you to get a copy of the I-20 to him? His flight leaves in 2 hours. So they said, no worries. First of all, the US rules say that if you don't have an I-20, when you come to the US, you can tell them in 1 week, you will get the I-20 to them and they will give you a special form to fill. So don't worry. And we will call them up and tell them. Second, in 12 minutes, we'll get a scanned copy to you. And now I solved the problem by thinking time zones, by thinking solution orientation, and by thinking don't get panicky. My wife, on the other hand, was in complete panic. Complete panic, firing him, shouting to him, etc. Everybody deals with it differently. But the day you get constrained in a crisis, and there's a person called Nitya Shanti. He is somebody I've always looked up to from the time last 8-9 years. And he's always told me that the only way to solve is think of the present, not the past, not the future. And think of the moment today and feel joyfulness in your heart. And the moment you feel joyfulness in your heart, you will discover a lot more of yourself. And we got the I-20. It came by email, printed it out. 9:30 we left home. He reached Boston. He was fine. They were worried that the scanned copy may not work. They might need an original. So he said, you show them the scanned copy and say you get the original to them in a week. They never asked any questions. He went through and everything went well. So I'm just giving you a life example versus a fictitious example of crisis. But to me, solving a crisis requires calmness. And calmness comes when you believe that you can solve it. If you believe you're helpless, you will not solve a crisis.
Govind, present over here today, all our friends, they are going to impact lakhs of lives.
Amazing.
So, and they come from various backgrounds. We have students, we have housewives, we have doctors, lawyers, chairmen of companies, etc. So all kinds of people are there.
I'm sorry?
Is there anything specific you would like to tell them?
So I think change should happen from within. I don't think we as change makers can drive change. But all that we can do is get people to recognize that they need to change. I loved some of the early questions you had and sessions you had today in the early slides that you shared, which are all about the fact that telling a child to do something or telling a senior executive to do something doesn't work. He or she has to believe that it's the right thing for them to do. And I have had the journey of life where I've succeeded sometimes. I failed many times, very many times. And I'm not scared of failure. I'm not scared of failure. I'm scared of letting people down. But I think my biggest successes have come when I've let somebody down and then I've rebounded and helped them find their journey. So I think it's a function of conviction that you can change yourself, but you can also impact change for others. So my point is, Narendra, that's very important for people to recognize that don't try to drive change by getting people to do something. Get them to recognize that they need to do something. The word recognition is more important than doing. And I have not succeeded where I've driven change without recognition. I've not succeeded. I failed. But when I see people recognize that it's for their good or it's for the benefit of somebody else, that recognition drives change. So as we go through our journey of impacting organizations, students, our own children, or people around us, friends, I think that's the only guidance I would give at this point of time that makes a difference to me. And I have no other pearls of wisdom.
Oh, no, very sweet, very beautiful. Govind, do you have any daily practices which helps you to stay motivated, positive, focused, calm?
None.
None.
Many people have told me to meditate. Many people have told me to do that. I get inspired when I talk to people. So if you told me for 24 hours you can't speak to a human being, I will probably, if I don't die, I'll probably get de-energized. So I get energy when I talk to people. So no, I have no practices. I'm not a disciplinarian. One of my biggest regrets, not regret, but one of my biggest complaints that people make of me, oh, when you should follow discipline, you should do energy, you should do exercise, you should do this. I've unfortunately failed in that. I do want to answer one question that came up on the group. It's a very good question, I think, by Ravi and his wife about Egon Zehnder and how people stay motivated to perform when there is no carrot and stick.
Yeah.
I can say this, that the culture works. And we are the number one search in the world, firm in the world in our profession, in what we do. Number one private company in the world that does this. And the reason is because people look around and we hire people that believe in peer pressure, that believe in saying, if Govind is doing so much, why can't I do it? And I help that person scale up. I help that person grow. So there's no competition. So it's very difficult to explain. And it's very difficult to digest. And I did not believe it. It took me 4 months to understand the model. And so I completely respect in 3.5 minutes, you're not going to believe me. But if you come and see it, you will believe it. That's all I would say. Go ahead, Naren.
Lovely. So final question, Govind. What would be your advice for Keep Moving movement? This work that we are doing where we go to schools, we speak to kids about certain life skills. Like today's session is Born to Win. So there will be a set of 7 topics that we will have, and 7 different topics we'll talk about 7 different kind of mindsets. We are attempting to work with children in class 9th and 10th. And we really believe that the future of our country lies in the schools. And this is one segment of the society where if they have one powerful, positive influence in their life, it can be the most uplifting experience for them and the turning point of their life. So for Keep Moving movement, what would be your advice?
So I think from what you've told me, it's brilliant what you're doing. And I said, don't stop ever. So keep moving, number one, and keep moving every minute of the day. But I think the single biggest change in the mindset of children who are the future of the world is the fact that we need to recognize, as you mentioned it earlier, that everybody is different. Yeah. And sometimes that is so difficult to recognize for me as well and for others as well. We are very judgmental in the way we work. And the moment we can suspend judgment, we will give the best to people and we will give the best to ourselves. It's so much easier said than done. But I think if we can start making baby steps in that direction, if each of us can take a 1% improvement in that, a 2% improvement in that, we will make a difference to the world. So every drop matters. And I would say that what you're doing today and all the days in the past is very inspiring to get every child to understand this, but more than the children. I think it's the parents, because they make a huge difference at home. And secondly, the teachers. But I would weigh a lot on the parents. And I think societal pressure is creating us to behave very differently. For me to behave very differently. For my friends to behave differently. We are all competitive in a rat race. And the day we realize that we can be successful. So I have my youngest son, who is so different from the other two, and who is consciously saying, Dad, minimum effort, maximum output. Okay. And I'm like, minimum effort is fine. Maximum output is fine. But how do you want to go about leading a life? And he's clearly charted out how he wants to lead his life. He's 15, all of 15, but he's very focused. He will get outcomes, but he doesn't want to be, the Superman of the world. And I know he will be one, because today he believes this so strongly. Tomorrow, something else will inspire him to do that. But I want to give people confidence in the 9th and 10th to believe they have to take life into their hands and not depend on their parents and not depend on their ecosystem. And that is, to me, the change that I would like to see in children in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. The dependence on others is something we force on them. We force the dependence. Can I do this note for you? Can I cover your books for you? Let's get them to do it on their own. My father did it on his own. My grandfather did it on his own. But today's generation, I myself am guilty of pampering my children too much. The number of times I've said please to them is more times than I've ever said please to anybody in the world, right? I mean, that tells you all that we are just pampering our children. And the day we stop doing that, I think will be actually the change we want to drive in this world.
Oh, brilliant. Govind, thanks a ton for your time and your wisdom. I think all of us have grown as people, as friends, as professionals. I think you covered almost every aspect of life, maybe with the exception of marriage, for which we'll bring you some other day. Thank you so much.
Anytime, but thank you. This has been a very inspiring morning for me to start my Sunday. So I want to thank all of you on the call for being there. And thank you, Narendra, for requesting me to be here. I really am privileged. Thank you.
Thanks a ton, Govind. Thanks, darlings. With this, let's complete today's session. Wish you all the best when you go inside the classrooms and make an impact like you have never made in your life. And in this process, may the person who grows the maximum be yourself. Thank you so much and love you all. Bye. Thanks, Govind. Bye. Bye. Thanks for coming.